Chapter 3258. The Nine Temples Saintess. In the void at the center of the Bloodwave realm, a beautiful woman wearing a silver robe was sitting there quietly. Although she was sitting quietly with her eyes closed, the charm she exuded was enough to make people dream about her. The Nine Temples Saintess was not only the top 5 on the true saint list, but she was also the goddess in the hearts of many immortal saints in the Bloodwave realm. In terms of beauty, there were few people in the entire divine beginning realm who could compare with her. At this moment, the Nine Temples Saintess suddenly opened her beautiful eyes and looked to the side. In that direction, a figure was rushing over. Nine Temples Saintess, long time no see. How have you been? Jian Wushuang crossed his arms and said with a faint smile. After locking his eyes on Nine Temples Saintess, he asked the temporal temple to find her location and immediately rushed over. Heavenly Sword Marquis? Nine Temples Saintess looked at Jian Wushuang and frowned slightly. What are you doing here? Nothing. I just happened to pass by and saw you here, so I came to say hello. Jian Wushuang smiled. By the way, I read about you before. It said that you're from the Nine-Tailed clan, one of the 4 divine clans. Is that true? Weatherim from the Nine-Tailed clan has nothing to do with you, right? The Nine Temples Saintess glanced at Jian Wushuang. She had helped the 3 Saint Realms deal with Jian Wushuang before, so she was naturally wary of him. However, she did not have a deep hatred for Jian Wushuang before. If possible, she would like to ease the relationship between them. After all, it was better to be friends with a genius like Jian Wushuang. It was better than being enemies. You're right. In that case, I won't disturb you, Jian Wushuang said, and then directly flew toward the void. Nine Temples Saintess thought that Jian Wushuang would leave, but she found that Jian Wushuang stopped in the void not far away from her and then sat down cross-legged. Heavenly Sword Marquis? Nine Temples Saintess narrowed her eyes and immediately stood up and flew in the opposite direction of Jian Wushuang, trying to distance herself from him. However, when she moved, Jian Wushuang immediately stood up and followed her. Seeing this scene, the Nine Temples Saintess immediately understood that Jian Wushuang was not just passing by, as she said, but was deliberately coming for her. Heavenly Sword Marquis just took revenge on the 3 Saint Realms and killed half of the experts in the Destruction Saint Realm and the Life and Death Saint Realm. It is said that several experts in the Flame Saint Realm died at his hands. Now, does she have her eyes on me? Nine Temples Saintess' expression changed slightly, then she directly went up to Jian Wushuang. Heavenly Sword Marquis. Nine Temples Saintess appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and smiled. Her every move was charming and mesmerizing. Heavenly Sword Marquis, do you have a crush on me? Nine Temples Saintess said with a smile. A crush on you? Nine Temples Saintess, don't you think too highly of yourself? Jian Wushuang smiled coldly with a mocking look in his eyes. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. Nine Temples Saintess was not annoyed, but said in a low voice, in that case, why are you following me? What a joke. We are all wandering in the central area of the Bloodwave realm, and we are all fighting for the Bloodwave token. The central area of the Bloodwave realm is only so big. How can you say that I am following you? Jian Wushuang sneered. Nine Temples Saintess' eyes slightly sank, but she could not refute. Well, then you should be careful. The Bloodwave realm ignored Jian Wushuang and continued to fly forward, Jian Wushuang following closely behind her. Half a day passed in a flash, but the Bloodwave realm could not shake Jian Wushuang off. What's wrong with Heavenly Sword Marquis? The Nine Temples Saintess was extremely angry. No matter who it would be uncomfortable to be followed like this. Not to mention the Nine Temples Saintess was a little afraid of Jian Wushuang. This fear was because she was not a threat to Jian Wushuang at all. Although Heavenly Sword Marquis is not very strong, his life-saving ability and assassination ability are recognized as the best. Moreover, his physique is very strange, so he is completely immune to my soul attacks. He is my nemesis. Fortunately, his assassination ability is not a threat to me at the moment. Otherwise, I would really be a threat if he targeted me, Nine Temples Saintess murmured. She could not threaten Jian Wushuang, and it was difficult for Jian Wushuang to threaten her. This was what Nine Temples Saintess knew in her heart. Visit Ria Del. me for extra chapters. However, because neither side could threaten the other, she felt irritated because Jen Wushuang was following her. In her opinion, Jen Wushuang was simply wasting time. Moreover, if they really encountered the birth of the Bloodwave token, if they fought, they would hinder each other. This was not beneficial to either of them. No. Nine Temples Saintess' face suddenly changed. If the Bloodwave token was born near us, we would be in each other's way if we fought for it at the same time. However, Heavenly Sword Marquis had already obtained one Bloodwave token a long time ago, so it would be useless even if he got another one. Therefore, his purpose now is not to fight for the Bloodwave token, but to hinder me and prevent me from getting the Bloodwave token. The Nine Temples Saintess finally understood Jen Wushuang's purpose. But after understanding it, she became even more distressed. After all, she could not do anything to a person who was her nemesis. How could she fight for the Bloodwave token if he kept following her and hindering her? Heavenly Sword Marquis, we didn't have a big grudge before. It was the three Saint Realms who paid a great price to ask me to help them, so I only gave them face. Moreover, with the three Saint Realms ability, even if I didn't agree, they would invite other experts who are good at soul to deal with you. Why are you still clinging to me? Why don't you and I bury the hatchet? Maybe we can become good friends. What do you think? If you're still not satisfied, I can give you a batch of resources and treasures as an apology. What do you think? Nine Temples Saintess stopped and said, bury the hatchet? Become good friends? I'm sorry, I don't think so. Jen Wushuang smiled coldly. How about I owe you a favor at most? You know, many people want a favor from me, the Nine Temples Saintess. The Nine Temples Saintess continued. I'm not interested. Jen Wushuang still shook his head. Heavenly Sword Marquis, don't go too far. The Nine Temples Saintess was extremely angry. Go too far? So what if I go too far? If you have the ability, why don't you kill me? Jen Wushuang sneered. Shameless. The Nine Temples Saintess finally could not help but curse. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3259, The Eighth Bloodwave Token Shameless? Jen Wushuang's eyes turned cold. How dare you call yourself shameless? When you and so many experts from the three Saint Realms and the Light King surrounded me, a rank 6 true saint, did you ever think of being shameless? The Nine Temples Saintess was at a loss for words. Indeed, they had surrounded Jen Wushuang and killed him alone. Moreover, Jen Wushuang was only a rank 6 true saint at that time. Humph, in that case, you should follow me. Nine Temples Saintess clenched her teeth and rushed forward without bothering Jen Wushuang. Of course, Jen Wushuang followed her from a distance. 3 days passed in a row. During these 3 days, Jen Wushuang followed closely behind Nine Temples Saintess. Nine Temples Saintess also tried to get rid of him, but Jen Wushuang was not slower than her, he was even slightly faster than Nine Temples Saintess, so Nine Temples Saintess did not succeed. During these 3 days, the 7th Bloodwave token was born. However, because the place where it was born was far away, Jen Wushuang and the Nine Temples Saintess did not have time to catch up. In the end, the Bloodwave token was obtained by an expert named Silver Snow King. Silver Snow King was a new expert in the Bloodwave realm. Although he was not ranked on the True Saint list, many people thought that he had the battle strength of the top 20 on the True Saint list after the previous competition. In the vast void. It's been 3 days. Heavenly Sword Marquis has been following me closely for 3 days, but he hasn't given up. Instead of seeking revenge from the three Saint Realms, he has been following me. It's obvious that he wants to stare at me until he dies. Nine Temples Saintess kept moving forward, however, her soul power could sense Jen Wushuang's presence behind her. She was so angry that she could not help but clench her teeth, but there was nothing she could do. But at this moment, buzz! The earth shook, and then a special fluctuation spread from the void not far away. This fluctuation immediately made Nine Temples Saintess ecstatic. The Bloodwave token has been born, and it's clearly around me. It's very close to me. Nine Temples Saintess immediately became excited. Since the opening of the Bloodwave realm, 7 Bloodwave tokens had been born and obtained. Only 3 remained. These 3 Bloodwave tokens were especially important. My luck wasn't good previously. I didn't manage to catch up to the first 7 Bloodwave tokens. Even the craziest competition for the 3 Bloodwave tokens wasn't able to catch up. Instead, it was given to people like Coldheart and Silver Snow King who were weaker than me. And this 8th Bloodwave token appeared right next to me. This time, I finally caught up. No matter what, I must get this Bloodwave token. A trace of heat also appeared in Nine Temples Saintess' beautiful eyes, and then she rushed toward the source of the fluctuation as fast as she could. While rushing toward the source of the fluctuation, Nine Temples Saintess also noticed Jen Wushuang's movement. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. Sure enough, Heavenly Sword Marquis has caught up with me. If nothing unexpected happens, he will definitely try his best to hinder me and prevent me from getting the Bloodwave token. Unfortunately, I already have a way to deal with it. Nine Temples Saintess sneered in her heart. During the 3 days of entanglement with Jen Wushuang, Nine Temples Saintess had already planned how to deal with Jen Wushuang. Now, of course, she had an idea. Soon, Nine Temples Saintess and Jen Wushuang arrived at the void where the Bloodwave token was born. In the void, the fight had begun, but there were only a dozen people present, most of whom were peak saints. As for the invincible saint, there was only one, and there were no experts on the true saint list. A good opportunity. Nine Temples Saintess was overjoyed, but she did not rush to the battlefield immediately. Instead, she rushed directly toward Jen Wushuang. Heavenly Sword Marquis, take this. Nine Temples Saintess appeared in front of Jen Wushuang, and a strong green light shone from her beautiful eyes. Jen Wushuang was quite familiar with this green light. When he was besieged by the experts of the 3 Saint Realms, he used the Lonely Hell, which trapped Nine Temples Saintess and Thunder God. However, the Nine Temples Saintess had forced herself out of the solitary hell with a flash of green light in her eyes. She had even helped Thunder God fight for it. Now, the green light appeared again and shone at Jen Wushuang for a moment. Is it a soul attack or a charm? Jen Wushuang stood there indifferently, unmoved by the green light. No matter what the Nine Temples Saintess did, she could never threaten him. However, when the green light shone on him, Jen Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. Visit Ria Me for extra chapters. It's not a charm, it's an illusion. Jen Wushuang frowned slightly. This illusion was very powerful. Even with Jen Wushuang's state of mind, he fell into it at once. Although he immediately sensed it and began to attack it, he still needed time to break it. Although it did not take much time, 2 or 3 breaths was enough. During these 2 or 3 breaths, the Nine Temples Saintess had already rushed toward the battlefield ahead. She clearly thought that as soon as the fight began, she would immediately use the illusion to trap Jen Wushuang and then seize the Bloodwave token while Jen Wushuang was in the illusion. As long as she was fast enough, when Jen Wushuang caught up with her again, she would definitely have taken the Bloodwave token. As long as she got the Bloodwave token, Jen Wushuang could only watch helplessly. Her plan was flawless. Just as she expected, Jen Wushuang was trapped in the illusion, and she also entered the battlefield proudly. There were only a dozen people on the battlefield, and there was only one invincible saint. Who could resist the 9th Temple Saintess, who was ranked 5th on the True Saint list? Moreover, the 9 Temples Saintess specialized in the soul, and soul attacks were the most terrifying to many people. After all, an undying body was useless to the soul. As soon as the 9 Temples Saintess appeared, her soul attacks swept across and easily killed several peak saints. The invincible saint who had already obtained the Bloodwave token was so scared that he immediately gave it to her. Since then, the 8th Bloodwave token had successfully fallen into the hands of the 9 Temples Saintess. At this time, Jen Wushuang had just escaped from the illusion. When he saw that the Bloodwave token had fallen into the hands of the 9 Temples Saintess, Jen Wushuang's expression changed slightly. He was wondering whether he should continue to fight for it. However, his expression suddenly changed. Another expert came, and the aura of the person who came seems to be very strong. Well, it's them. Jian Wushuang looked at the figures coming from the void, but a strange smile appeared on his face. This is interesting. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3260, Underworld Emperor, Iron Tower _ not far away in the void, two figures were rushing over side by side. Both of them were extremely fast and appeared around the battlefield in an instant. When they arrived, they happened to see the Nine Temples Saintess putting the Bloodwave token into her interspatial ring. Seeing this, their expressions sank. It's them. The Nine Temples Saintess also sensed their arrival and could not help but raise her eyebrows. If it was any other expert, even if it was the two invincible saints or two experts on the true saint list, the Nine Temples Saintess would not care too much. But the two people in front of her brought great pressure to the Nine Temples Saintess. These two people stood side by side in front of the Nine Temples Saintess. On the right side was a bald man who was over 3 meters tall and was as strong as a mountain. This bald man carried a mace, he had a gentle smile on his face and gave off a simple and honest feeling. However, it was this simple and honest man that made the hearts of the experts present tremble. Tai Ta was currently ranked 13th on the True Saint list. This was a solitary expert who had become famous a long time ago. However, no one knew his real name. As for the name Tai Ta, it was given to him by others because he was not only tall and sturdy, he was like a mountain, and most importantly, he had an almost invincible body protection ability. His body protection and defense ability was widely recognized as the number one among the many immortal saints in the divine beginning realm. Just like Jian Wushuang's widely recognized number one life-saving ability and assassination ability, Iron Tower was the number one defense ability. That was why it was called Iron Tower, which meant it was indestructible. In addition to his defense, his offensive skills were also good, especially the mace in his hand. When he swung it, it was powerful enough to easily crush the invincible saint. That was why he was ranked 13th on the True Saint list. If it was just Tai Ta alone, Nine Temples Saintess could accept it. After all, Tai Ta could not do anything to her. But beside Tai Ta, in front of Nine Temples Saintess to her right, there was a man in a black robe. He had a cold and gloomy aura. The aura emitted by this cold man was shocking and completely covered everyone present. Even the aura of Tai Ta and the Nine Temples Saintess was completely covered by him. He stood there with a cold expression. He was like a death god. Underworld Emperor. It's the Underworld Emperor who is ranked 3rd on the True Saint list. The surrounding experts could not help exclaiming when they saw Lung Ju. Underworld Emperor was an expert who had suddenly emerged after the opening of the Bloodwave realm. However, even though he had suddenly emerged, his terrifying strength still shocked everyone. It should be known that before the True Saint list, Light King ranked 1st, Saint Devil's Son ranked 2nd, and Nine Temples Saintess ranked 3rd. During the battle between the three Saint Realms and Jian Wushuang, Di Hao and Light King proved that Di Hao was slightly stronger than Nine Temples Saintess because Di Hao should be ranked 3rd. However, since Underworld Emperor fought in the Bloodwave realm, Underworld Emperor was immediately ranked 3rd, while Di Hao and Nine Temples Saintess were both ranked below him, and no one questioned this result. It was because the Underworld Emperor's strength was indeed terrifying. The battle where the Underworld Emperor became famous was when he challenged the Saint Devil's Son. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. In the end, he fought the Saint Devil's Son for close to 15 minutes. In the end, the Saint Devil's Son relied on his innate advantage as a special life form to barely beat the Underworld Emperor. However, after the battle, the Saint Devil's Son admitted that in terms of strength, the Underworld Emperor was not much weaker than him, and it was because of this that the Underworld Emperor became famous. Now, the Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta, one ranked 3rd on the True Saint list and the other ranked 13th on the True Saint list, these two peak existences appeared on this battlefield. Moreover, both of them were obviously interested in the Bloodwave token in the hands of the Nine Temples Saintess. Underworld Emperor, Tai Ta, I'm afraid that the two of you are late. The Nine Temples Saintess stood in front of the Underworld Emperor and Tai-Ta with an indifferent expression. Late? I don't think so. Aren't you still standing here? The Underworld Emperor let out an evil voice. What? Are the two of you planning to snatch the Bloodwave token from me? The Nine Temples Saintess mocked. Although the Nine Temples Saintess was extremely fearful of the formation of the Underworld Emperor and Tai-Ta, she was not afraid. After all, with her strength, she was not afraid even if she met the Light King directly. The Light King could at most crush or heavily injure her, but it was almost impossible to kill her. If the Bloodwave token fell into your hands before, we wouldn't have paid attention to it. But now, it's different. The Underworld Emperor said in a low voice, the Bloodwave realm is nearing its end. Out of the 10 Bloodwave tokens, 7 have already appeared and fallen into someone else's hands. The one in your hands is the 8th one. In other words, if we miss this chance, we can only wait for the last 2 Bloodwave tokens to appear. But there are so many people fighting for those 2 Bloodwave tokens. Who knows who will get them in the end? You're right. The further you go, the lower your chances of getting the Bloodwave token. It's fine that the Underworld Emperor and I didn't manage to get it before, but since we managed to get it this time, we naturally won't let you go so easily. Tai-Ta also spoke coldly, his voice was like thunder. Nine Temples Saintess, hand over the Bloodwave token. Otherwise, the two of us won't be polite to you. What a joke. Just the two of you want to kill me? The Nine Temples Saintess was also filled with anger. How would we know if we don't try? The Underworld Emperor smiled coldly and glanced at Tai-Ta at the side. Brother Tai-Ta, since this Nine Temples Saintess is so stubborn, why don't we join hands and teach her a lesson? If we have the chance, why don't we kill her? No problem. Tai-Ta nodded and stepped forward. Watch me. As soon as he finished speaking, Tai-Ta pulled out the mace behind him. His 3-meter-tall body was holding a 2-meter-long mace. There was a faint earthy yellow energy gathering on the mace, then, he suddenly smashed it out. Boom. The heaven and earth shook, and the huge mace directly smashed toward the Nine Temples Saintess. Before it got close, a shocking pressure spread out. The Nine Temples Saintess' eyes turned cold. The moment Tai-Ta attacked, her soul attack had already swept toward Tai-Ta. Her soul attack was extremely powerful. Among the immortal saints, it should be the first. Even if she did not use her strongest move, it was still extremely terrifying. It was enough to heavily injure the soul of an invincible saint. However, when this soul attack hit Tai-Ta, soul attack? Tai-Ta smiled disdainfully, but his body did not stop at all. The mace in his hand continued to crush him. Chapter 3261, Precious Treasure. Damn the Iron Tower. Its defensive ability is still indestructible. The Nine Temples Saintess could not help but curse in her heart. The Iron Tower was known as the #1 defensive ability. The #1 defensive ability did not only target the divine body. In terms of soul defense, the Iron Tower's soul defense ability was also quite terrifying. Ordinary soul attacks won't affect him at all. Even if I use my strongest move, I can only barely hurt his soul. I don't think I can seriously injure his soul. Tai-Ta is much more difficult to deal with than Heavenly Sword Marquis, Nine Temples Saintess muttered. Although her soul attacks were ineffective against Jian Wushuang's weak attacks did not pose much of a threat to her. However, while Iron Tower's soul defense was extremely strong, its attack power was also very powerful, which was enough to pose a great threat to her. In comparison, she naturally felt that Iron Tower was more difficult to deal with. Humph. Just as Iron Tower's mace was about to hit Nine Temples Saintess snorted coldly and immediately formed a towering cyclops with majestic soul power in front of her. This cyclops also held a spiked mace in his hand. In terms of size, it was not any smaller than the Iron Tower. Then, the spiked mace in the cyclops' hand also smashed out. Bang! With a loud sound, the cyclops kept retreating. Every step he took caused the void to tremble. Obviously, in a one-on-one situation, the cyclops formed by the soul power of the Nine Temples Saintess was still a little inferior to the Iron Tower. If one isn't enough, what about the other 3? A dense green light appeared in the Nine Temples Saintess' eyes. In an instant, endless soul power swept out and formed two identical one-eyed giants. 3 giant one-eyed giants stood in front of the 9 Temples Saintess, and each of them had a shocking momentum. The 9 Temples Saintess was ranked in the top 3 of the true saint list, so her strength was not to be underestimated. Visit Read.me for extra chapters. Any of the 3 one-eyed giants that she condensed with her soul power had the battle strength close to the true saint list. If the 3 Cyclopes joined hands, even the top 10 experts of the true saint list would be able to fight them. As the 3 Cyclopes attacked one after another, Iron Tower was soon completely suppressed. When the Underworld Emperor saw this scene, a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. You are indeed quite powerful since you are ranked 5th on the true saint list. However, this doesn't mean that you can take the Bloodwave token away from the 2 of us. After saying this, the Underworld Emperor finally made his move. With a sway of his body, the Underworld Emperor easily bypassed the battle between the Iron Tower and the 3 Cyclopes and appeared in front of the 9 Temples Saintess. After which, a pitch-black blade light suddenly lit up. This pitch-black blade light was not only dazzling but also extremely demonic. This was a black demonic blade. It was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Wherever the blade light went, all lives would be destroyed. Not good. The 9 Temples Saintess was shocked. Immediately, a large amount of soul power swept toward the Underworld Emperor. The Underworld Emperor was indeed very strong, but in terms of soul defense, he could not compare to Taitar. Speaking of this soul attack, the Underworld Emperor's body trembled slightly and his hand movements also paused slightly. The power of the pitch-black demonic blade was greatly reduced. After that, the 9 Temples Saintess flipped her hand, and a long sword appeared in her hand. A faint sword hum sounded. This sword hum was extremely strange, and it continuously affected people's state of mind. After that, the sword light collided with the pitch-black demonic blade. Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. The 9 Temples Saintess' body shook, and she staggered backward. It was not easy for her to regain her balance. So powerful. He was clearly affected by my soul attack and his power was greatly weakened. However, his blade still crushed me. My divine power was damaged by nearly 10%. The 9 Temples Saintess' expression was ugly. She finally understood why Underworld Emperor was ranked 3rd on the True Saint list. There were only a few people on the True Saint list who could block the blade just now. After all, the 9 Temples Saintess specialized in the soul, however, her close combat ability was not weak. She could also compete with ordinary experts on the True Saint list. However, Underworld Emperor was already affected by her soul and was still able to suppress her. How terrifying was Underworld Emperor's attack? Are you scared, 9 Temples Saintess? If you are smart, hand over the Bloodwave token and I will not make things difficult for you. However, if you don't hand it over, Underworld Emperor's eyes flashed with a sharp light. What a joke. The 9 Temples Saintess laughed disdainfully. You are courting death. The Underworld Emperor was a little angry. 9 Temples Saintess, I forgot to tell you that the attack just now was not my strongest attack. The next attack is Hua. Another pitch-black blade light swept out. It was also extremely demonic. Moreover, the moment this blade light swept out, the entire world turned completely dark. The world no longer had any light, as if it had sunk into a dark void. This pitch-black demonic blade became the focal point of this dark void. This blade. The 9 Temples Saintess' pupils constricted. She could feel that this blade was more than twice as strong as the previous one. In her shock, she could only use all of her strength to block, but in the end, the 9 Temples Saintess was once again sent flying. At the same time, blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth, and the divine power aura on her body was immediately weakened. Damn it, I lost nearly 20% of my divine power in this attack. 9 Temples Saintess' face was unsightly, but she was immediately enraged. Emperor Ming, Tai-Ta, you forced me to do this. A shrill roar echoed in the void, and 9 Temples Saintess' eyes exploded. At the same time, an object faintly appeared between her eyebrows. It was a cyan divine lamp. The cyan divine lamp emitted an ancient and majestic aura. Sensing this aura, whether it was Emperor Ming, Iron Tower, or Jian Wushuang who was far away from the battlefield, their pupils shrank. This is a supreme treasure. Jian Wushuang could not help clenching his hands. Yes, it was a supreme treasure. And judging from the aura, it was a soul attack type supreme treasure. This Nine Temples Saintess actually has a soul attack type true treasure. Underworld Emperor's expression changed. True treasures were something only Principles Masters were qualified to use. Although it was rumored that some immortal saints with great backgrounds or great opportunities also had true treasures, these immortal saints rarely used them even if they had one. Because true treasures were too precious, even Principles Masters would attach great importance to them. If it was not necessary, who would reveal that they had a true treasure? That would cause countless great beings to be greedy, and they might even be targeted by Principles Masters. Ordinary true treasures were like that, and soul attack type true treasures were no less precious than domain type true treasures. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 3261, Precious Treasure Damn the Iron Tower. Its defensive ability is still indestructible. The Nine Temples Saintess could not help but curse in her heart. The Iron Tower was known as the number one defensive ability. The number one defensive ability did not only target the divine body. In terms of soul defense, the Iron Tower's soul defense ability was also quite terrifying. Ordinary soul attacks won't affect him at all. Even if I use my strongest move, I can only barely hurt his soul. I don't think I can seriously injure his soul. Tai-Ta is much more difficult to deal with than Heavenly Sword Marquis, Nine Temples Saintess muttered. Although her soul attacks were ineffective against Jian Wushuang's weak attacks did not pose much of a threat to her. However, while Iron Tower's soul defense was extremely strong, its attack power was also very powerful, which was enough to pose a great threat to her. In comparison, she naturally felt that Iron Tower was more difficult to deal with. Humph! Just as Iron Tower's mace was about to hit Nine Temples Saintess snorted coldly and immediately formed a towering cyclops with majestic soul power in front of her. This cyclops also held a spiked mace in his hand. In terms of size, it was not any smaller than the Iron Tower. Then, the spiked mace in the cyclops' hand also smashed out. Bang! With a loud sound, the cyclops kept retreating. Every step he took caused the void to tremble. Obviously, in a one-on-one situation, the cyclops formed by the soul power of the Nine Temples Saintess was still a little inferior to the Iron Tower. If one isn't enough, what about the other three? A dense green light appeared in the Nine Temples Saintess' eyes. In an instant, endless soul power swept out and formed two identical one-eyed giants. Three giant one-eyed giants stood in front of the Nine Temples Saintess, and each of them had a shocking momentum. The Nine Temples Saintess was ranked in the top 3 of the True Saint list, so her strength was not to be underestimated. Any of the 3 one-eyed giants that she condensed with her soul power had the battle strength close to the True Saint list. If the 3 Cyclopes joined hands, even the top 10 experts of the True Saint list would be able to fight them. As the 3 Cyclopes attacked one after another, Iron Tower was soon completely suppressed. When the Underworld Emperor saw this scene, a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. You are indeed quite powerful since you are ranked 5th on the True Saint list. However, this doesn't mean that you can take the Bloodwave token away from the 2 of us. After saying this, the Underworld Emperor finally made his move. With a sway of his body, the Underworld Emperor easily bypassed the battle between the Iron Tower and the 3 Cyclopes and appeared in front of the Nine Temples Saintess. After which, a pitch-black blade light suddenly lit up. This pitch-black blade light was not only dazzling but also extremely demonic. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. This was a black demonic blade. It was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Wherever the blade light went, all lives would be destroyed. Not good. The Nine Temples Saintess was shocked. Immediately, a large amount of soul power swept toward the Underworld Emperor. The Underworld Emperor was indeed very strong, but in terms of soul defense, he could not compare to Tai-Ta. Speaking of this soul attack, The Underworld Emperor's body trembled slightly and his hand movements also paused slightly. The power of the pitch-black demonic blade was greatly reduced. After that, the Nine Temples Saintess flipped her hand, and a long sword appeared in her hand. A faint sword hum sounded. This sword hum was extremely strange, and it continuously affected people's state of mind. After that, the sword light collided with the pitch-black demonic blade. Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. The Nine Temples Saintess' body shook, and she staggered backward. It was not easy for her to regain her balance. So powerful. He was clearly affected by my soul attack and his power was greatly weakened. However, his blade still crushed me. My divine power was damaged by nearly 10%. The Nine Temples Saintess' expression was ugly. She finally understood why Underworld Emperor was ranked third on the True Saint list. There were only a few people on the True Saint list who could block the blade just now. After all, the Nine Temples Saintess specialized in the soul. However, her close combat ability was not weak. She could also compete with ordinary experts on the True Saint list. However, Underworld Emperor was already affected by her soul and was still able to suppress her. How terrifying was Underworld Emperor's attack? Are you scared, Nine Temples Saintess? If you are smart, hand over the Bloodwave token and I will not make things difficult for you. However, if you don't hand it over, Underworld Emperor's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Mph, what a joke. The Nine Temples Saintess laughed disdainfully. You are courting death. The Underworld Emperor was a little angry. Nine Temples Saintess, I forgot to tell you that the attack just now was not my strongest attack. The next attack is, Hua. Another pitch-black blade light swept out. It was also extremely demonic. Moreover, the moment this blade light swept out, the entire world turned completely dark. The world no longer had any light, as if it had sunk into a dark void. This pitch-black demonic blade became the focal point of this dark void. This blade. The Nine Temples Saintess' pupils constricted. She could feel that this blade was more than twice as strong as the previous one. In her shock, she could only use all of her strength to block, but in the end, the Nine Temples Saintess was once again sent flying. At the same time, blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth, and the divine power aura on her body was immediately weakened. Damn it, I lost nearly 20% of my divine power in this attack. Nine Temples Saintess' face was unsightly, but she was immediately enraged. Emperor Ming, Tai Ta, you forced me to do this. A shrill roar echoed in the void, and Nine Temples Saintess' eyes exploded. At the same time, an object faintly appeared between her eyebrows. It was a cyan divine lamp. The cyan divine lamp emitted an ancient and majestic aura. Sensing this aura, whether it was Emperor Ming, Iron Tower, or Jian Wushuang who was far away from the battlefield, their pupils shrank. This is a supreme treasure. Jian Wushuang could not help clenching his hands. Yes, it was a supreme treasure. And judging from the aura, it was a soul attack type supreme treasure. This Nine Temples Saintess actually has a soul attack type true treasure. Underworld Emperor's expression changed. True treasures were something only Principles Masters were qualified to use. Although it was rumored that some immortal saints with great backgrounds or great opportunities also had true treasures, these immortal saints rarely used them even if they had one. Because true treasures were too precious, even Principles Masters would attach great importance to them. If it was not necessary, who would reveal that they had a true treasure? That would cause countless great beings to be greedy, and they might even be targeted by Principles Masters. Ordinary true treasures were like that, and soul attack type true treasures were no less precious than domain type true treasures. Chapter 3262. The people who stood in the way. The soul attack of the Nine Temples Saintess is widely recognized as the number one among the immortal saints. Now that she has a soul attack treasure, I'm afraid that Emperor Ming and Tai Ta are in trouble, Jian Wushuang murmured. Indeed, after the Nine Temples Saintess took out her soul attack treasure, the expressions of Emperor Ming and Tai Ta had changed. Especially the Underworld Emperor. Although he was strong, his soul defense was not that great. The soul attack of the Nine Temples Saintess was enough to affect him, but now, Underworld Emperor, you asked for it. The Nine Temples Saintess' face was as cold as ice. Green light burst out from the green lamp between her eyebrows. This green light was extremely dense, as if the energy in the sky was gathering crazily. Buzz! The dense green light finally gathered in the eyes of the Nine Temples Saintess, making her look like two giant green suns. Looking at these two green suns, everyone around the battlefield could feel the trembling of their souls. Almost everyone could feel the trembling of their souls. It's this move again. Jian Wushuang, who was in the distance, also narrowed his eyes. He knew this move. Nine Temples Saintess had once used it on him. It was her most powerful move. Once, Nine Temples Saintess used this move to kill an invincible saint. At that time, she had not used her Soul Attack Supreme Treasure. Now, with the addition of the Soul Attack Supreme Treasure, the two green suns became even more dazzling and terrifying. And these two green suns were targeted at the soul. Destroy. The Nine Temples Saintess gritted her teeth and spat out these two words. The two green suns in her eyes instantly turned into two green arcs of light and shot toward the Underworld Emperor. These two green arcs of light were too fast. Even the Underworld Emperor could not dodge them. Not good. The expression of the Underworld Emperor changed greatly. He immediately used his soul defense technique to the limit and tried his best to block these two green arcs of light. In the end, with a bang, the Underworld Emperor's body twitched slightly. His face turned pale and the aura on his body became weak. However, although his aura was weak, it did not completely disappear. Clearly, under this attack, the Underworld Emperor's soul was severely injured, but it was not completely destroyed. The Underworld Emperor raised his head again. His eyes were filled with anger when he looked at the Nine Temples Saintess, but at the same time, there was a trace of fear. A serious injury to the soul was not a serious injury to the divine body. It only needed some God power to recover. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. It was extremely difficult to recover from a serious injury to the soul. Moreover, the soul was the foundation of a cultivator. If the soul was damaged, it would have a huge impact on strength. At least for the current Underworld Emperor, with a serious injury to the soul, he could only display 60% of his current strength. It could be said that he was quite miserable. As for Tai Ta, the Nine Temples Saintess did not use her strongest move to deal with him. After all, Tai Ta's soul defense was indestructible and much stronger than the Underworld Emperor. She could severely injure the Underworld Emperor's soul, however, it was very difficult to severely injure Tai Ta's soul. However, because of the Soul Attack treasure, the power of the three Cyclopes who had been fighting Tai Ta all this time instantly rose to a whole new level. Almost any one of the Cyclops could fight with Tai Ta head-on. The three of them joined hands and suppressed Tai Ta to an extremely miserable state. Underworld Emperor, do you still dare to take the Bloodwave token in my hand? The Nine Temples Saintess stared at Underworld Emperor with a cold expression. The expression on Underworld Emperor's face was uncertain. He had an incomparable desire for the Bloodwave token, especially now that he only had 3 Bloodwave tokens including the one in the Nine Temples Saintess' hand. However, the Nine Temples Saintess' methods could not help but make him afraid. His soul was already heavily injured. If the Nine Temples Saintess used the same soul attack as before, his soul would be extremely weak. If the Nine Temples Saintess could use it a third time, his soul would be destroyed here. Nine Temples Saintess, you are ruthless. I underestimated you. The Underworld Emperor's voice was low. He then glanced at Tai Ta. Brother Tai Ta, stop. Tai Ta immediately stopped and came to the side of the Underworld Emperor. At least the two of you are tactful. The Nine Temples Saintess snorted. With a thought, the 3 Cyclopes dissipated. At the same time, the green lamp between her brows slowly disappeared. The two of you, farewell. The Nine Temples Saintess said and directly flew to the side. Emperor Ming and Tai Ta still stood there and had no intention of chasing after her. However, just as Nine Temples Saintess was about to leave, she immediately stopped. A figure had already blocked in front of Nine Temples Saintess. This figure was Jian Wushuang, who had been watching the battle. Nine Temples Saintess, where are you going in such a hurry? Jian Wushuang smiled. Heavenly Sword Marquis? Nine Temples Saintess glanced at Jen Wushuang and smiled coldly. If you could break my illusion from the beginning, you might be able to stop me from taking the Bloodwave token. But now that the Bloodwave token has fallen into my hands, even Emperor Ming and Tai Ta can't do anything to me. What can you do? You're right. You have a soul attack treasure, which even Emperor Ming is afraid of. But unfortunately, your soul attack is useless to me. Emperor Ming and Tai Ta can't take the Bloodwave token from you, but I might be able to. Jen Wushuang smiled strangely. Heavenly Sword Marquis, are you trying to waste time? Nine Temples Saintess did not take Jen Wushuang seriously at all. Waste time? I don't think so. Nine Temples Saintess, if I'm not mistaken, you don't have much divine power left, right? Jen Wushuang stared at Nine Temples Saintess. When you fought with Emperor Ming, you lost nearly 30% of your divine power after taking 2 blows from him. At the same time, you have to use your soul power to form 3 Cyclopes to fight Tai Ta. These 3 Cyclopes must have consumed a lot of your divine power. Most importantly, you used your soul attack supreme treasure to perform your most powerful move. After a pause, Jen Wushuang continued, I don't know how much divine power your most powerful move requires, but I do know that it takes a lot of divine power to use a supreme treasure. Supreme treasures were usually controlled by principal's masters. Although the immortal saint could use some of the power of a supreme treasure, it required a lot of divine power to activate it. Jen Wushuang knew this very well. After all, he had the supreme treasure, Icefire Swimming Dragon Ruler, which consumed a lot of divine power to activate the Icefire domain. However, Jen Wushuang was a perfect chaos god, so his divine power was boundless. Naturally, he did not care. But the Nine Temples Saintess was different. Chapter 3263. Killing the Nine Temples Saintess. It's not so easy for an immortal saint to activate the power of a supreme treasure. If I'm not wrong, you'll need to use at least 20% of your divine power to activate your soul attack supreme treasure. In addition to the divine power you used before, you only have 50%, or even 40%, of your divine power now, Jen Wushuang said. You're right. My divine power is less than half of what it was when I was at my peak, but so what? Do you think you can kill me just because I'm not at my peak? The Nine Temples Saintess sneered. She was confident in her strength. In her opinion, even if she only had 10% or 20% of her divine power left, it was still not enough for a mere Heavenly Sword Marquis to kill her. However, after hearing her words, Jen Wushuang revealed an extremely strange smile. If you were in your prime and had abundant divine power, I wouldn't be able to kill you. But now, you have less than 50% of your divine power left. It's easy for me to kill you. Jen Wushuang's voice was cold. At the same time, he made his move. Buzz. Strong pressure from the life level began to press down without any warning. This pressure ignored the strength of both sides and the realm level. This was the pressure from the most fundamental life level. This pressure was impossible to resist. Standing in front of Jen Wushuang, Nine Temples Saintess immediately felt the pressure from the life level. What? Nine Temples Saintess' eyes were wide open, and her beautiful face was almost disfigured at this moment. She looked at Jen Wushuang as if she saw the most powerful existence in her race. No, even more terrifying than that existence. Fear. Trembling. Fear. All kinds of emotions emerged in Nine Temples Saintess' mind. At this moment, Nine Temples Saintess was completely dumbfounded. When Jen Wushuang pulled out the Blood Mountain sword and slowly slashed at her, she even forgot to defend herself. She just stood there in a daze and let Jen Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword hit her. It should be known that Nine Temples Saintess was best at the soul, but she was not strong in the defense of the divine body. As Jen Wushuang said, if she was at her peak, with her vast divine power, maybe she could survive this sword attack. However, she only had less than 50% of her divine power left. With Jen Wushuang's sword attack, less than 50% of her divine power was instantly destroyed. The Nine Temples Saintess did not even have time to scream before her divine body collapsed and her voice was completely cut off. Dead, dead. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website My Box Novel. Thanks. The Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta, who had not left yet and had seen everything, were stunned. The experts who were fighting for the Bloodwave token, as well as the people who had rushed here during this period, were also stunned. They were all stunned. Some of them even opened their mouths wide. The Nine Temples Saintess, who was ranked in the top 5 on the True Saint list, had just revealed her soul attack treasure and fought with the Underworld Emperor. Judging from the scene, her true ranking on the True Saint list could actually rise to the 3rd place. However, such a peak expert, who even Underworld Emperor feared so much that he could only let her leave, was killed by Jian Wushuang in a short instant. Moreover, he had killed him head-on without any other means. How is this possible? Impossible. This is impossible. Are we all under an illusion? Almost no one wanted to believe that what was happening was real. Emperor Ming was the first to react. Heavenly Sword Marquis. Emperor Ming looked at Jian Wushuang with unprecedented seriousness. What did he just do? He was nearby. When Jian Wushuang performed that sword move, he also vaguely felt the pressure from the life level. The pressure made him want to kneel down in fear. Jian Wushuang relied on this method to kill Nine Temples Saintess without any struggle. Although Nine Temples Saintess has less than 50% of her divine power, she is still not someone who can be killed easily. Even Light King, who is ranked first on the True Saint list, could not kill Nine Temples Saintess in one move even if he used his strongest move without any defense. But Heavenly Sword Marquis did it. Underworld Emperor muttered with his eyes wide open, then he looked at Tai Ta, who was also stunned. Brother Tai Ta, your defensive ability is recognized as the best among the immortal saints. Are you sure you can block the sword of Heavenly Sword Marquis? Emperor Ming asked. Tai Ta frowned and shook his head. I can't. Although I haven't experienced the power of that sword, I can see that it has completely surpassed the realm of the immortal saint. If that sword came at me directly, even if I tried my best to defend, my divine body would be destroyed by it. Of course, his sword can only make me lose 20 to 30% of my divine power, but it can't kill me in one strike. Tai Ta had absolute confidence in his defensive ability, but he did not have the confidence to face Jian Wushuang's attack. Even you can't block it? Emperor Ming could not help sighing. Without a doubt, in terms of attack power, the power of Heavenly Sword Marquis attack is above that of all the immortal saints. Even the most powerful move of Light King is far from being comparable to his. Such a move, without any accident, already has the ability to kill experts on the True Saint list in an instant. Inst-kill an expert on the True Saint list. Tai Ta's heart trembled. While Emperor Ming and Tai Ta were shocked by Jian Wushuang's skills, Jian Wushuang had already taken away the interspatial ring left behind by the Nine Temples Saintess, as well as the green lamp that had appeared between her eyebrows. With the death of the Nine Temples Saintess, it also appeared in the void and was naturally taken by Jian Wushuang. After collecting all the things, Jian Wushuang planned to leave. But at this time, the Underworld Emperor immediately called out to him. Heavenly Sword Marquis. The Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta had already walked up. What's the matter? Do you want to take the Bloodwave token from me? Jian Wushuang asked playfully. The Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta looked at each other, then the Underworld Emperor smiled bitterly and said, We really want the Bloodwave token, but we know we can't take it from you, so we came here to discuss it with you, Heavenly Sword Marquis. Discuss? How? Jian Wushuang seemed to be interested and asked casually. Chapter 3264, Favors from the Underworld Emperor _ Heavenly Sword Marquis. The Underworld Emperor looked over. I know that you've already obtained a Bloodwave token before, so even if you get another one now, it won't be of any use. Why don't you give me this Bloodwave token? As for the conditions, feel free to mention them. From the Underworld Emperor's expression, it could be seen that he really desired this Bloodwave token. He really wanted it very much. This was also very normal. After all, 8 Bloodwave tokens had already appeared, and all of them had fallen into the hands of others. There were only 2 chances for them to appear in the future. It was unknown if he would be able to encounter these 2 Bloodwave tokens. Moreover, during his fight with the Nine Temples Saintess, his soul had already been heavily injured by the Nine Temples Saintess. His own strength was greatly affected, and he was greatly weakened. The damage to his soul could not be repaired easily. Even if the battle for the Bloodwave realm was over, Underworld Emperor estimated that his soul could not be completely repaired, and his battle strength could not be restored to its peak. This made him less confident in the fight for the Bloodwave token. Therefore, he was very eager to have the Bloodwave token in Jian Wushuang's hand. Hearing the words of the Underworld Emperor, Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly and then smiled. "There are too many people here. Let's find a place to talk." "Okay." The eyes of the Underworld Emperor lit up. Jian Wushuang did not reject him on the spot, which meant that this matter was promising. Immediately, Jian Wushuang, the Underworld Emperor, and Tai Ta went to the void to the side. After they left, the experts who remained in the void were completely in an uproar. After all, a peak expert who ranked 5th on the True Saint list had just died here. Without a doubt, the death of the 9 Temples Saintess was enough to cause an unprecedented sensation in the Bloodwave realm. In a quiet void, Jian Wushuang, Emperor Ming, and Tai Ta stopped. "Emperor Ming, you can say whatever you want now," Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "I've said what I want to say. The Bloodwave token in your hand is very important to me. I want to get it no matter what price I have to pay," Underworld Emperor said solemnly. "Heavenly Sword Marquis, you can help me with the conditions. As long as I can meet them, I won't refuse." "Conditions?" Jian Wushuang shook his head. "To be honest, I don't have anything special that I need right now, so I can't offer any conditions. So you should see for yourself what methods you can use to move me." Jian Wushuang did not lack treasures. He had a lot of treasures. He even had a domain-type supreme treasure, and now that he had killed the 9 Temples Saintess, the green lamp of the 9 Temples Saintess had also fallen into his hands. This was also a soul attack-type supreme treasure. As for other things, such as cultivation resources and natural treasures, they were also not attractive to him, not to mention Saint Elixirs. At his level, he did not care about the number of Saint Elixirs. Therefore, if Underworld Emperor wanted to impress him, he had to use some special items. Underworld Emperor also fell silent. Obviously, he knew that it was not so easy to impress Jian Wushuang. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. He pondered for a moment before speaking. "I once obtained a token by chance. This token was left by an extremely powerful Principles Master. With this token, I can enter the mystic realm of heaven and earth and have a chance to receive the legacy of this Principles Master." "The True Eye Master?" Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. He had heard of the True Eye Master because he had interacted with a fallen Principles Master in the Temporal Temple. The secret skill left behind by the Principles Master in the True Martial Mystic Realm had mentioned the True Eye Master. Just as Underworld Emperor had said, the True Eye Master was indeed an extremely powerful Principles Master. Although he could not be compared with Temple Master Bai Xing and the 3 Palace Masters of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, among Principles Masters, he could be considered at the top level. The mystic realm left behind by such a Principles Master was indeed valuable. "Heavenly Sword Marquis, is this token enough to exchange for your Bloodwave token?" Emperor Ming asked. "Not enough." Jian Wushuang shook his head. "First of all, I don't know if the token in your hand was really left behind by the True Eye Master, and I'm not sure if this token can really allow me to enter the mystic realm created by the True Eye Master. Secondly, even if I use this token to enter the mystic realm created by the True Eye Master, I don't know what the True Eye Master left behind in the mystic realm. Most importantly, since the True Eye Master left the heaven and earth mystic realm to find a successor for himself, the successor he found is definitely the most suitable to become his disciple. I'm not sure if he'll be taken in by True Eye Master. After all, the True Eye Master cultivates the soul. To sum it up, this token is not very useful to me. At most, I can use this token to exchange for some other resources. How can it be worth a Bloodwave token that can enter the Bloodwave Palace and almost 99% can break through to become a Principles Master?" Underworld Emperor frowned and did not refute Jian Wushuang's words. Indeed, the token left by the True Eye Master was very precious, but it was not as important as the Bloodwave token. Other than the token left by the True Eye Master, I don't have any other treasures. However, I can add one more favor to it. I can also spread this favor on my own initiative and let everyone in the Bloodwave realm witness it. With this favor, you can ask me to do something for you in the future, even if it's life-threatening. As long as it's not certain death, I'll agree. How about it? Oh! Jian Wushuang's expression changed. If the keepsake left by the True Eye Master was just a momentary hesitation, then Jian Wushuang was really tempted by the favor of the Underworld Emperor. Although the favor of the Underworld Emperor was useless to him now, once the Underworld Emperor got the Bloodwave token and entered the Bloodwave Palace, he would probably become a Principal's Master. Underworld Emperor was ranked 3rd on the True Saint list, and his battle strength could barely be compared with special life experts like Saint Devil Sun. Such an expert was extremely talented. Once he became a Principal's Master, he would definitely be an expert among Principal's Masters. He had a lot of room to grow. He might become a top Principal's Master in the future, and he might even have a chance to reach the level of Temple Master by Xing and the 3 Palace Masters of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. When that time came, the value of this favor would be amazing. Jian Wushuang began to think. Chapter 3265 Agreed. Seeing Jian Wushuang's silent expression, Underworld Emperor immediately became anxious. What? The token left by the True Eye Master and my favor are not worth a Bloodwave token? That's not true. Jian Wushuang smiled. Your 2 conditions have indeed moved me, but you also know that I come from the Temporal Temple, and there are 5 other people who came at the same time as me. 4 of them don't have a Bloodwave token. Now that there's an extra one, I naturally have to consider them. Well, wait for me. I'll send a message first. Okay. Underworld Emperor could only suppress his anxiety for now. Jian Wushuang took out a message token. This message token belonged to Temple Master Bai Xing. Among the immortal saints in the Temporal Temple, there were only a few who were qualified to have the message token and could directly communicate with Temple Master Bai Xing. However, Jian Wushuang was one of them. Temple Master Bai Xing. Jian Wushuang directly sent a message to Temple Master Bai Xing. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you should still be wandering in the Bloodwave realm, right? Why do you have the time to look for me? Temple Master Bai Xing quickly replied. Temple Master Bai Xing, it's like this. Jian Wushuang briefly recounted what had happened. You got 2 Bloodwave tokens at the same time? Even Temple Master Bai Xing was shocked to hear the news. Jian Wushuang had just killed the 9 Temple Saintess and obtained the 2nd Bloodwave token. Therefore, although Temple Master Bai Xing had been paying attention to what was happening in the Bloodwave realm, he had not received any news. I do have 2 Bloodwave tokens, but the problem is that Emperor Ming came to me and offered me a very good condition. He wants me to give him the extra Bloodwave token. I'm worried that Qian Hongzi and the others don't have the Bloodwave token yet, so I'm a little hesitant, so I came to ask you. Temple Master Bai Xing, Jian Wushuang said. Underworld Emperor? I've heard about him. He's ranked 3rd on the True Saint list and is quite talented. What did he offer to tempt you? Temple Master Bai Xing asked. One is a token left by the True Eye Master and a favor from Underworld Emperor, Jian Wushuang answered truthfully. Oh! Temple Master Bai Xing raised his eyebrows. The keepsake left by the True Eye Master is nothing. After all, the True Eye Master specializes in the soul. His keepsake is very useful to experts who specialize in the soul, but it's not very useful to you. However, the favor from the Underworld Emperor is worth fighting for. You want me to agree to the Underworld Emperor? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, Temple Master Bai Xing said. When the Underworld Emperor showed his super strength in the Bloodwave realm, the intelligence department of the Temporal Temple had already investigated his background. The result was that not only was the Underworld Emperor extremely talented and has great potential, but he also has an amazing master behind him. Master? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Yes, the master of Underworld Emperor is very powerful. He is a terrifying existence that is not to be trifled with. Even our Temporal Temple would not want to provoke him unless it was absolutely necessary. If you can get a favor from the Underworld Emperor, you will naturally form a relationship with his master. He might be of great help to you in the future. So, of course, you have to fight for him, Temple Master Bai Xing said. If I agree with him, then Qian Hongzi, Duan Lang, and the others, Jian Wushuang frowned. Don't worry about them. Temple Master Bai Xing said directly, the opportunities in the Bloodwave realm belong to those who are capable. These 2 Bloodwave tokens were obtained by you alone and with your own strength. They belong to you. You can deal with them however you want. Besides, it might not be a good thing for them if you give them the extra Bloodwave tokens for free. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. The path of cultivation is based on endless trials and tribulations. If they don't fight for the Bloodwave token and get it from you, no matter who gets it, it will have a great impact on their state of mind. In this situation, let's not talk about whether they can break through to become a Principal's Master through the opportunities in Bloodwave Temple, but even if they do, their achievements will be limited to this. Understood. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily. He also agreed that it was not a chance that he had to risk his life for. Even if he got it, it might not be a good thing. I'll ask Han Yuan to tell Qian Hongzi, Duan Lang, and the others. Now use this Bloodwave token to get the favor from Emperor Ming first, Temple Master Bai Xing said. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded and then cut off the communication with Temple Master Bai Xing. In the void, Emperor Ming was waiting anxiously, and Tai Ta was standing beside him. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang opened his eyes, and a smile appeared on his face. With a flip of his hand, the Bloodwave token he got from the 9 Temples Saintess appeared in his hand. Emperor Ming, give me the token left by the True Eye Master. With your help, the Bloodwave token is yours. Visit Ria Del. Me for extra chapters. Upon hearing this, Underworld Emperor was overjoyed. He immediately took out the token left by the True Eye Master and handed it to Jian Wushuang. At the same time, he said, if it's a favor, Iron Tower will bear witness for now. Later, I'll immediately spread the word and let everyone in the Bloodwave realm know that I owe you a favor. There's no rush. The mighty Underworld Emperor, the 3rd-ranked genius on the True Saint list, shouldn't go back on his words. Jian Wushuang smiled and handed the Bloodwave token to Underworld Emperor directly. After receiving it, the Underworld Emperor was so excited that his body was trembling. After a long while, he exhaled heavily and looked at Jian Wushuang again. Brother Heavenly Marquis, thank you so much. If you're not busy, how about we have a drink now? Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. He could tell that the Underworld Emperor wanted to make friends with him because of his gratitude. Jian Wushuang was also very willing to make friends with a genius expert like Underworld Emperor and his powerful master. Soon, the 3 of them found a place and began to talk about making friends. While Jian Wushuang was talking with Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta, the death of 9 Temples Saintess caused a huge wave in the Bloodwave realm. After all, the 9 Temples Saintess was one of the top 5 super experts on the True Saint list. Such an expert should be able to do whatever he wanted in the Bloodwave realm. Since the opening of the Bloodwave realm, many experts had died in the fight for the Bloodwave token. Even the Invincible Saint had died. However, there was not a single expert on the True Saint list who had died. This was because it was almost impossible to kill an expert on the True Saint list in the Bloodwave realm. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3266, Sensational. Even if the Light King personally took action, he would not be able to kill the experts on the True Saint list. Moreover, these experts on the True Saint list were not stupid. Once their lives were threatened, they would choose to hand over the Bloodwave token. After all, those who could be ranked on the True Saint list were not weak in talent. Even if they did not get the Bloodwave token this time or the opportunities in the Bloodwave realm, they might have a chance to become a Principal's Master in the future. Therefore, a Bloodwave token was not worth their lives to fight for. On the contrary, many experts who were not qualified to be ranked on the True Saint list regarded the Bloodwave token as their only hope to become a Principal's Master. That was why they were desperate to fight for it. Even if they only had 20 to 30% of their godly power left, they were not willing to give up this opportunity. That was why they were killed. But this time, there was finally an expert on the true saint list who died in the Bloodwave realm, and the one who died was the 9th-ranked 9 Temples Saintess. Thus, the entire Bloodwave realm was in an uproar. The 9th-ranked 9 Temples Saintess is dead. In a cave abode that was temporarily opened, the Light King, who was wearing a loose robe and carrying a cyan-colored long rod on his back, opened his eyes. A trace of shock appeared in his eyes. Light King, ranked first on the True Saint list, was widely recognized as the strongest among the immortal saints. He also believed that no one among the immortal saints could match him, especially in terms of offensive power. His stick skill combined 2 principles at the same time. It was enough to crush any immortal saint. But now, when he received the news, especially when he learned that the 9 Temple Saintess had nearly 50% of her divine power left, he was completely shocked when she was killed by Jian Wushuang with one sword strike. I know 9 Temples Saintess' strength very well. Although she specializes in the soul, her life-saving skills are not weak. Even I, when 9 Temples Saintess was unprepared, could only kill 20% to 30% of her divine power with my strongest strike. But Heavenly Sword Marquis destroyed 50% of her divine power with one strike? Is the sword strike performed by Heavenly Sword Marquis stronger than my strongest attack? At the thought of this, a huge wave rose in the bottom of Light King's heart, and at the same time, a shocking battle intent rose. Light King was an extremely arrogant person, and his arrogance was the result of him being in the strongest position. But now, Jian Wushuang's appearance made Light King feel a little threatened. He vaguely felt that Jian Wushuang was qualified to threaten his position. That was why he wanted to fight with Jian Wushuang. No rush. Heavenly Sword Marquis has already obtained the Bloodwave token. When the competition is over and the door of Bloodwave Temple is opened, I will meet him. Then I will have a good time with him, Light King murmured. He closed his eyes again. On an empty space, several figures gathered there. The atmosphere was a little gloomy. These people were from the Flame Saint realm. The leaders were Jiyu Zhenzi and Kong. At this moment, oh my God, the 9 Temples Saintess is dead. She was killed by Heavenly Sword Marquis. A cry of surprise suddenly came out of a person's mouth. Instantly, the people of the Flame Saint realm were shocked. All of them revealed expressions of disbelief. The Heavenly Sword Marquis killed the 9 Temples Saintess. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. How is this possible? He is ranked 5th on the True Saint list. Even the Light King doesn't have such an ability, right? The people of the Flame Saint realm could not believe it was true. However, Jiyu Zhenzi and Kong were relatively calm after they heard the news. While the others were shocked, Jiyu Zhenzi and Kong looked at each other. Kong said directly, he must have used that move again. Yes. Jiyu Zhenzi nodded slightly. That terrifying sword, when I was on guard against it, directly slashed at me. It destroyed more than 80% of my divine power and could still kill Junior Brother Blue Eagle. The power of his is simply unbelievable. Not to mention that the 9 Temple Saintess has already lost more than 50% of her divine power in the battle with the Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta. Even if her divine power is at its peak, it is still very dangerous when she meets this Heavenly Sword Marquis. In terms of the strongest attack power, no one in the Bloodwave realm can compare to Heavenly Sword Marquis' sword. He can definitely kill an expert on the True Saint list in an instant. The problem is, I don't know how many times Heavenly Sword Marquis can use that ultimate sword. If he can only use it once in a big battle and needs a long time to recover before he can use it a second time, that would be fine. However, if he can use it 2 or 3 times in a big battle, that would be truly terrifying. Visit Readel.me for extra chapters. If he can perform such a powerful sword attack 2 or 3 times at the same time, almost no one in the Bloodwave realm can survive it. At the very least, you and I can't do it, Kong exclaimed. I hope it belongs to the former. However, no matter what, Heavenly Sword Marquis is not someone we can deal with. Even if we add in the other 2 saint realms, we can't compete with him. We must be careful in the coming time. We must not let Heavenly Sword Marquis target us again, Jiu Zhenzi said in a deep voice. Kong also nodded solemnly. He knew very well that they had already suffered heavy losses when Jian Wushuang targeted them. If they did it again, few of them in the Flame Saint realm could survive. In a corner of the central area, the 5 people of the Temporal Temple gathered together. Oh my God, the Heavenly Marquis brother actually killed the 9 Temples Saintess? Qian Hongzi widened his eyes in shock. Yes, he did. Although the 9 Temples Saintess wasn't in her peak state, she had nearly 50% of her divine power. However, she was killed by the Heavenly Marquis brother with one sword strike. Isn't the Heavenly Marquis brother too terrifying? Duan Lang exclaimed. They had also received the news. After receiving the news, they were all stunned. How, the Heavenly Sword Marquis killed the 9 Temples Saintess. This method is even more impressive than yours. What are your thoughts at this moment? Qian Hongzi teased. I don't have any thoughts. It can only mean that he is powerful. Hao's expression was still cold. However, from his eyes, it could be seen that he was extremely shocked. Qian Hongzi curled his lips, then he said, according to the information, after the Heavenly Sword Marquis killed the 9 Temples Saintess, the 9 Temples Saintess soul attack Supreme Treasure and the Bloodwave token fell into his hands. The Heavenly Sword Marquis had 1 Bloodwave token, and now he has 2. One of them is useless against him. Duan Lang, Yu, and Fei Shui's eyes were red, but they soon smiled bitterly. They had all received a message from the Chaos Origin Master telling them that Jian Wushuang had exchanged the Bloodwave token for the favor of the Underworld Emperor. They had no choice but to accept it. After all, Jian Wushuang had obtained the Bloodwave token alone, so it was up to him to decide how to use it. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3267, New Rankings outside the Bloodwave realm, in another base of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. In the grey void, a barefoot, childlike person stood in front of a huge crystal. On the crystal, there were densely packed words. These words were a list of experts, and this childlike person was writing this list. However, during this process, his brows suddenly furrowed, his hands stopped moving. Lord Tong! A loud voice rang out, and a 2-meter-tall bald old man appeared in the grey void. Kai Hua! The child raised his head and glanced at the bald old man. How come you have time to come here? I just happened to pass by here, and I saw you looking rather distressed. Why? Did you run into trouble? The bald old man looked at the child. Isn't it because of the True Saint list? The child curled his lips, he said, the Bloodwave realm has opened, and countless top saints have gone to fight for the opportunities within. Many experts on the True Saint list have also participated in it. After fighting for it again and again, new experts have appeared one after another. Naturally, the rankings on the True Saint list have to be updated frequently. Since the Bloodwave realm opened, I've updated the True Saint list several times. It's not a big deal, but this time, there's a person's ranking. I don't know how to arrange it. The True Saint list had been issued by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, the #1 Freedom Alliance of the Divine Beginning realm, for a long time. Moreover, it had always been very authoritative. As long as a new True Saint list was released, almost no one would question the rankings on it. And as Tong Jun, who was in charge of gathering intelligence and updating the True Saint list, of course, he would be extremely cautious about changing the ranking on the True Saint list. Who is it that you don't know how to arrange? The bald old man asked. Other than Heavenly Sword Marquis, who else? Tong Jun's voice was low and deep. This Heavenly Sword Marquis is very strange. Although he has relied on his invincible life-saving ability and the #1 assassination ability to make many immortal saints in the Bloodwave realm fearful, his true combat strength is only at the level of an invincible saint. Such a person shouldn't be ranked on the True Saint list. However, not long ago, Heavenly Sword Marquis suddenly went crazy and killed the 9 Temples Saintess, who was ranked 5th on the True Saint list. Nine Temples Saintus couldn't even be killed by the Light King, but Heavenly Sword Marquis did. So I don't know how to identify him. He killed Nine Temples Saintus, so it doesn't make sense for him not to be ranked on the True Saint list. But if he is ranked on the True Saint list, based on the terrifying sword attack he used to kill Nine Temples Saintus, he is even more terrifying than Light King. He can definitely be ranked first, but his strength is obviously not at that level. Tong Jun was indeed troubled. It was because Jian Wushuang was not very strong himself, but only had a strong trump card. But a trump card was also a kind of strength. Just like the Old Valley Master of the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley, the Old Valley Master was not very strong herself, but because she had mastered the supreme divine skill of the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley, if she really went crazy, even the 3 Supreme Saint Masters of the 3 Saint Realms would have scruples. Jian Wushuang was obviously in this delicate state. He was not very strong, but his trump card was even weaker than that of the Light King. Because of this, it was even more difficult to rank him. Haha, it's actually not difficult. The bald old man laughed. With the Heavenly Sword Marquis methods, he should be on the True Saint list. However, you don't have to rank him first. Instead, based on his battle record, didn't he kill the 9 Temples Saintus, who was ranked 5th on the True Saint list? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. Then why don't we just let him replace the 9 Temples Saintus and rank him 5th? Rank 5th. Tong Jun's expression changed, and then a smile appeared on his face. Good idea. The ranking on the True Saint list is largely determined by one's battle achievements. Take an ordinary person's challenge as an example. If a person who is not on the True Saint list were to defeat an expert on the True Saint list, he would naturally be able to occupy the position of an expert on the True Saint list. Now that Heavenly Sword Marquis has killed the 9 Temples Saintus, he would occupy the 5th position of the 9 Temples Saintus. There's no problem. Tong Jun smiled and soon began to write on the crystal. After he finished writing, a new ranking on the True Saint list was immediately spread throughout the Bloodwave realm. In a temporary cave mansion in the Bloodwave realm, Jian Wushuang, Emperor Ming, and Tai Ta were sitting at a stone table. There was wine on the table, and the 3 of them were drinking and laughing. Suddenly, Emperor Ming's expression changed. He looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "Congratulations, Brother Heavenly Marquis." Congratulations on what? Jian Wushuang was confused. Visit Riadel. Me for extra chapters. The new True Saint list has been released. Not only are you on the new list, but you're also ranked 5th. Emperor Ming said. 5th on the True Saint list. Isn't that the ranking of the 9 Temples Saintus? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Yes, it's her ranking. In fact, I think it's too low for you to be ranked 5th, Underworld Emperor said. Don't praise me. I know very well how strong I am. Jian Wushuang smiled. Although you're only ranked 5th, the evaluation of you on the list is quite high. You can take a look first, Tai Ta said at this time. Really? Jian Wushuang asked. The changes in the rankings of the True Saint list were especially important to the experts in the Bloodwave realm. Therefore, every time the new True Saint list was released, the Chaos Master would immediately pass it on to the people of the Temporal Temple. Jian Wushuang also received a complete True Saint list. The first 4 rankings on the new True Saint list remained unchanged. However, the 5th position, which used to be the name of the 9 Temples Saintus, had now become Heavenly Sword Marquis. The following introduction about Heavenly Sword Marquis was plentiful. Heavenly Sword Marquis, a special life form, a super genius rarely seen in the divine beginning realm for hundreds of millions of years. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised by the first sentence. A special life form? A super genius rarely seen in hundreds of millions of years. Jian Wushuang could not help touching his nose. He was not surprised by this special life form. After all, whether it was his attack in the outside world or his amazing performance in the Bloodwave realm when he was surrounded and killed by the experts of the 3 Saint Realms, it was enough to explain the uniqueness of his physique. Through that battle, the experts of the various forces in the divine beginning realm could guess that his life level was not ordinary. It was almost certain that he was a special life form. It was normal for the information of his ranking to announce that he was a special life form. As for the super genius who was rarely seen in billions of years, it was even more normal. After all, his ability to cross realms was there. At least, no one in the divine beginning realm could have this talent. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3268, 3 first places _ next. The ranking information detailed Jian Wushuang's numerous battle achievements. From the famous battle where he killed a rank 7 true saint in the first heaven, to the battle in the Bloodwave realm where he played with the 3 saint realms, to the crazy slaughter during the feast, the process of severely injuring the destruction saint realm, life and death saint realm, and finally killing the 9 temples saintess was clearly described and concluded. Among the immortal saints in the divine beginning realm, Heavenly Sword Marquis has the best survival ability, assassination ability, and frontal attack power. In addition to his incredible talent and potential, although he is not strong enough, his trump card is enough to sweep the true saint list. Therefore, after careful consideration, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance ranked him at the 5th place on the true saint list for the time being. Jian Wushuang was stunned by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance's final evaluation of him. First in life preservation, first in assassination, and first in offensive power. That's 3 firsts. Underworld Emperor looked at Jian Wushuang in amazement. I've been famous for so long and finally got the first in defense. But compared to you, brother Heavenly Marquis, I'm far behind. Taitar also smiled. Jian Wushuang spread his hands and said, I admit that I'm the first in life preservation and assassination, but the first in attack power, isn't that a bit too much? No, it's not. Emperor Ming shook his head. Taitar, and I can clearly feel the sword attack you used to kill the 9 temples saintess. I dare say that the power of your sword attack is definitely beyond the scope of the immortal saint. Even the first-ranked Light King and the second-ranked Holy Devil's Son can't perform such a terrifying attack. Therefore, in terms of the strongest attack power, your sword attack is indeed superior to everyone else. But my sword is my strongest trump card. In a big battle, I can only use one sword move at most, while the Light King and the Holy Devil's Son can use their ultimate moves many times, Jian Wushuang said. Who cares about them? In short, it's enough for the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, which released the True Saint list, to admit that you are the strongest in attack power. And I dare say that regardless of the experts in the Bloodwave realm, there will be no doubt about this ranking and your 3 first positions, Emperor Ming said with a smile. Yes, after all, you killed 9 temples saintess with 1 sword strike. It's a fact. Light King and Holy Devil's Son can't do it, Taitar added. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang could only shake his head and smile. At this moment, a communication token in Jian Wushuang's interspatial ring vibrated. Jian Wushuang, didn't you say that you can't kill 9 temples saintess? The one who sent the message was Miss Xiao. She had just received the news that 9 temples saintess had been killed by Jian Wushuang. I was just lucky. Or rather, 9 temples saintess was too weak. I found an opportunity to kill her, Jian Wushuang replied immediately. He was telling the truth. Even if he had the heaven-cleaving skill, he could not kill 9 temples saintess in her peak state. After all, with his current strength, he could only use the heaven-cleaving skill once in a big battle. He could only use the heaven-cleaving skill once. He could only use the heaven-cleaving skill once to destroy 60 to 70% of 9 temples saintess divine power, but he could not kill her as long as 10% of her divine power remained. In any case, you did me a favor by killing 9 temples saintess. You have repaid the favor I owed you for saving your parents, but you still owe me one, Xiao said. Jian Wushuang could not help smiling bitterly. He knew that he owed Xiao 2 favors in total. The first one was when he met Xiao. In order to exchange for the lives of several fellow disciples of his sect, he had to owe Miss Xiao a favor. The second one was, it was Xiao who helped him transfer his parents and family. Now that he had killed 9 temples saintess, he had returned one favor, but he did still owe her one. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. I'll return the other favor when I have the chance, Jen Wushuang said. Visit Ria.me for extra chapters. There's no rush. You should think about your situation first. I forgot to tell you that the 9 temples saintess you killed came from the Nine-tailed clan, one of the 4 great divine clans. She has an extraordinary status in the Nine-tailed clan. In this era, the 9 clan leaders have 6 daughters, and this 9 temples saintess is the youngest one, Xiao said with a strange smile. What? Jian Wushuang was shocked. He had guessed that the 9 temples saintess should have a certain status in the Nine-tailed clan, but he did not expect her to be the daughter of the 9 clan grandmasters. The grandmaster of the Nine-tailed clan, one of the 4 great divine clans, stood at the top of the divine beginning realm. He killed his daughter, so the Nine-tailed clan grandmaster would seek revenge on him? Miss Xiao, you didn't tell me this before? Jian Wushuang asked in a low voice. If I told you the identity of the Nine-tailed saintess, would you dare to kill her? Xiao chuckled, then she said, don't worry too much. As far as I know, the grandmaster of the Nine-tailed clan has been in closed-door cultivation all these years. She has never asked about many important matters of the Nine-tailed clan. I'm afraid that the death of the 9 temples saintess will not allow her to come out of her closed-door cultivation. However, I don't know about her sisters and other experts of the Nine-tailed clan. Jian Wushuang's face darkened. Even if the clan leader of the Nine-tailed clan did not come out personally, as one of the 4 great divine clans, the Nine-tailed clan had many experts. They could easily send some powerful principal's masters to kill him. There were also the sisters of the 9 temples saintess. After all, the youngest daughter of the clan leader of the Nine-tailed clan, the 9 temples saintess, was ranked 5th on the true saint list. Her older sisters had probably broken through to become principal's masters. They would definitely kill him like crazy. Miss Xiao, you know so much about the Nine-tailed clan, and your charm is exactly the same as that of the Nine-tailed clan. If I'm not mistaken, you must have been a member of the Nine-tailed clan before you reincarnated. But what is your identity in the Nine-tailed clan? Why do you want me to kill the clan leader's daughter for you? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. You don't need to worry about my identity. Xiao refused to answer this question. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and did not continue to ask. Instead, he said, Miss Xiao, I have killed the 9 temples saintess for you and returned your favor. But where are my parents, my elder sister, and my second brother? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3269 was over. Jian Wushuang knew from Xiao that his parents had been living well, but he did not know the exact location. Xiao had never told him. Your parents are in the 3rd heaven, and they are in the territory controlled by the Nine-tailed clan. If you have the guts, you can come and reunite with them at any time, Xiao replied. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang frowned. The 3rd heaven was the trump card of the 3 saint realms. The 3 saint realms controlled everything, and he and the 3 saint realms would fight to the death. If he went to the 3rd heaven, it would be fine if he was not discovered. But once he was discovered by the 3 saint realms, even if he mastered the space-time teleportation, he would not be able to escape. He was not absolutely sure that he could escape. Father, mother, eldest sister, and second brother are doing well. I don't need to go to them for the time being. In the future, when I break through to become a principal's master and become stronger, I will be able to face the 3 saint realm masters from the 3 saint realms. I can go then, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Suddenly, his heart tightened because he thought of his parents in his previous life. After all, he had lived 2 lives. In this life, his parents, his elder sister and second brother, at least he knew where they were and how they were doing. But in his previous life, in the eternal chaotic world, which was in the damaged 7-star divine realm, he had his own parents and many relatives, brothers, and comrades. Their situation was always in dire straits. The The 7-star divine realm was in danger under the threat of the 3 saint realms. He did not know how long his master's magic array could last. Once the magic array collapsed, the remaining 7-star divine realm would be exposed to the experts of the divine beginning realm. It would be a disaster. There are too many things that I need to protect. I also need to become stronger. I can't change anything now. Only when I become a principal's master and become strong enough to face a saint realm master will I be qualified to protect what I need to protect. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. After a while, he let out a sigh of relief. Miss Xiaoa, thank you for informing me. After saying this, Jian Wushuang cut off the communication with Xiaoa. Next to the stone able in the cave mansion, Jian Wushuang opened his eyes again. Brother Heavenly Marquis, you look a little pale. Did something happen? Underworld Emperor looked over. Nothing, I just remembered some things in the past. Jian Wushuang smiled, then picked up the wine bowl and said, Come, let's drink. Underworld Emperor and Tai Ta looked at each other and smiled. Jian Wushuang, Underworld Emperor, and Tai Ta stayed in the cave mansion for the rest of the time, drinking and chatting. Jian Wushuang and Underworld Emperor had each received a Bloodwave token, so there was no need for them to fight for anything else. They just needed to wait for the fight to end and for the door of the Bloodwave temple to open. As for Tai Ta, although he desired the Bloodwave token, he was not very demanding. Jian Wushuang did not continue to look for trouble with the 3 saint realms. He knew very well that after the battle where he killed the 9 temple saintess, as long as the 3 saint realms were not stupid, they would never let him find them again. Fortunately, he was too lazy to look for trouble. Time passed. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. On the 3rd day after Jian Wushuang killed the 9 temple saintess, the 9th Bloodwave token appeared. The appearance of the Bloodwave token immediately attracted the attention of many experts. However, it happened to be in a remote place. There were not many experts in the vicinity, and one of them was unknown. However, he was very good at escaping. This expert was very lucky. He obtained the Bloodwave token at the first moment, and then directly escaped from everyone's sight, thus occupying the 9th Bloodwave token. What was even more laughable was that no one recognized this expert from the beginning to the end. No one knew who the 9th Bloodwave token had fallen into. After that, there was no way to chase or fight for it. Haha, luck, luck. Visit Riadel.me for extra chapters. This person's luck is really good. The Underworld Emperor's hearty laughter reverberated throughout the entire cave abode. The 9th Bloodwave token and one of the last 2 Bloodwave tokens should be enough to drive many people crazy. However, this man quietly took the Bloodwave token and ran away, leaving those who longed for it helpless. This man's good luck is one thing, but the most important thing is that he is too low-key. He is clearly an invincible saint, but no one knows him. The mirror image of him taking the Bloodwave token has been spread out, but no one recognized him. Such a completely unfamiliar expert is hiding in the Bloodwave realm. As long as he changes his appearance slightly, it's almost impossible to find him. Naturally, the Bloodwave token will be taken by him, Tai Ta said with a smile. It seems that to get the Bloodwave token in the Bloodwave realm, you need not only strong strength, but also luck. No wonder so many peak saints and some weaker invincible saints came here to try their luck, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Yes, luck is very important. Tai Ta and I were so unlucky that we didn't get the Bloodwave token. Otherwise, we wouldn't have attacked the 9 temples saintess, Underworld Emperor said with a smile. The 3 of them sat in this cave abode and paid attention to the movements and changes in the Bloodwave realm. Not long after the 9th Bloodwave token was created, the 10th Bloodwave token was also created. The last Bloodwave token caused a lot of killing. There were also hundreds of experts participating in this battle. In the end, amidst a bloody storm, this last Bloodwave token had fallen into the hands of the Snow Saint, who was ranked 10th on the True Saint list. Since then, all 10 Bloodwave tokens had been obtained by others. This crazy Bloodwave token battle within the Bloodwave realm had almost come to an end. Those who had obtained the Bloodwave token were naturally satisfied. As for the majority of experts who had not obtained the Bloodwave token, they could only do nothing about it. After all, there were only 10 Bloodwave tokens. With so many people fighting over it, not being able to obtain it could only mean that they were weak or had bad luck. In the cave abode. It's over. The fight is finally over. The Underworld Emperor smiled. Of the 10 Bloodwave tokens, except for one which fell into the hands of an unknown expert, the other 9 all fell into the hands of an expert on the True Saint list. Most of the top 10 people on the True Saint list have gotten the Bloodwave tokens. But what's more interesting is that the 3 great saint realms who are so high and mighty didn't even get a single Bloodwave token this time. Tai-Ta let out a playful laugh. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3270. They met the Light King again thanks to the blessings of the Heavenly Sword Marquis. The 3 great saint realms are really miserable this time. Tai-Ta laughed. TMPH, they brought it upon themselves. The Underworld Emperor snorted coldly. The 3 great saint realms were the overlords of the 3rd heaven. The 3 great saint realm masters were able to intimidate everyone. Over the long period of time, the experts of the 3 great saint realms had always been one level higher than the others. In the past, when the Bloodwave realm was opened, the experts of the 3 saint realms could more or less get a few Bloodwave tokens. If they were lucky, they could get 4 or 5. Even if they were unlucky, they could at least get 1 or 2. However, because of Jian Wushuang, when the Bloodwave realm was opened, the 3 saint realms were severely injured and lost a lot of experts. Most importantly, they were too afraid of Jian Wushuang. They did not dare to appear in front of Jian Wushuang, so they were timid when fighting for the Bloodwave token. As a result, the 3 saint realms did not even get a single Bloodwave token this time, and they lost so many experts for nothing. The 3 saint realms have always been overbearing, but this time, it's finally over, Underworld Emperor gloated. Many experts in the Divine Beginning realm did not like the 3 saint realms. However, because the other side was too powerful, they could only complain in their hearts. It was rare to see the 3 saint realms suffer, so many people felt relieved. Emperor Ming was very happy. The enmity between me and the 3 saint realms is very deep. This is just the beginning. I will fight them again in the future. We'll see what each of us can do. Jian Wushuang's eyes were filled with coldness, then he raised his eyebrows and said, well, all 10 Bloodwave tokens have been created. If I'm not mistaken, the door of Bloodwave Palace should be open soon. Let's go there now. Okay. Underworld Nether and Tai-Ta nodded. Soon, the 3 of them flew toward the center area. In the center area, a huge, boundless palace that exuded an ancient aura stood quietly. There was a special magic array around the palace. This palace was Bloodwave Palace. When Jian Wushuang and the others arrived at the Bloodwave Palace, there were already many experts waiting nearby. The 5 people from the Temporal Temple had also arrived. Everyone, how have you been? Jian Wushuang walked over. Haha, brother Heavenly Marquis. Seeing Jian Wushuang's arrival, the people from the Temporal Temple immediately smiled. Underworld Emperor? Di Hao glanced at Underworld Emperor with a strange look in his eyes. Di Hao? Underworld Emperor also noticed Di Hao's gaze and could not help but be moved. Between the 2 of them, one was ranked 3rd on the True Saint list, and the other was ranked 4th. Originally, Di Hao should have been ranked 3rd, but because of Underworld Emperor's sudden appearance, he became 4th. In addition, the 2 of them had not really met, let alone wanted to fight. I am very curious. Why are you ranked 3rd on the True Saint list? Di Hao asked in a deep voice. Why? Do you want to fight? The Underworld Emperor smiled sinisterly. Forget it. Di Hao shook his head. Looking at your condition, it seems that you are not at the peak. Under such circumstances, even if I defeat you, it would be meaningless. Moreover, both of us have obtained the Bloodwave token. We can enter the Bloodwave Hall immediately. If nothing unexpected happens, both of us should be Principal's Masters after walking out of the Bloodwave Hall. There is no need to care about the ranking on the True Saint list. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website mynovelful.com. Thanks. Emperor Ming smiled and did not say anything. He was indeed not in his peak condition. After all, he had been severely injured by the soul of the Nine Temple Saintess, so it was not easy to repair the damage to his soul. The door of the Bloodwave Temple is about to open. There are quite a lot of people here. Jian Wushuang spread his soul power and could sense a large amount of aura around him. At this moment, there were a lot of experts around the Bloodwave Temple. There were already more than 2,000 people. As expected, more than half of the experts who were still in the Bloodwave realm appeared here. It seems that these people still have a glimmer of hope for the Bloodwave token. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. According to the rules of the Bloodwave realm, whoever has a Bloodwave token can enter Bloodwave Temple. Before the door of Bloodwave Temple is really opened, it is still in the competition stage. At this time, they can still crazily fight for the Bloodwave token. Because of this, these people came here in advance and wanted to find an opportunity to attack the experts who have the Bloodwave token, Underworld Emperor said. Yes, but those experts with Bloodwave tokens are not stupid. Look, they have already arrived around the Bloodwave Temple. Including the three of you, there are only 5 of them, Tai Ta said. Jian Wushuang smiled. He knew which 5 Tai Ta was referring to. Visit Ria Del. Me for extra chapters. On his side, he, Emperor Ming, and Di Hao each had 1 Bloodwave token, so there were 3 of them. His soul power also sensed 2 auras around him, which belonged to the Light King and the Saint Devil Sun. The Light King and the Saint Devil Sun were ranked 1st and 2nd on the True Saint list respectively. Emperor Ming was ranked 3rd, Di Hao was ranked 4th, and Jian Wushuang was ranked 5th. They were the 5 strongest people on the True Saint list. Because of their strength and absolute confidence, they did not hesitate to appear in front of everyone. Although there were many experts gathered around the Bloodwave Hall, no one would think of fighting them. However, other than the 5 of them, the 5 remaining experts who had obtained the Bloodwave token, including the 6th-ranked Master Ku, the 8th-ranked Han Xin, and the 10th-ranked Snow Saint, did not show themselves. It was because they had some concerns, therefore, they wanted to wait until the Bloodwave Temple was officially opened before rushing over. At this moment, Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. We're coming from the Light Dynasty, Underworld Emperor said. Everyone looked in a direction. There, a handsome man wearing a loose robe and carrying a cyan-colored long stick slowly walked toward them. He did not stop until he was less than 100 meters away from them. Light King, what's the matter? Underworld Emperor looked at Light King from the corner of his eyes. If it were anyone else, they would be very nervous and stressed when facing Light King, who was ranked 1st on the True Saint list. But now, they had 4 experts on the True Saint list, and they were ranked 3rd, 4th, 5th, and the last one, Tai Ta, who was ranked 1st in defense. With such a lineup, they were not afraid of Light King at all. I'm looking for Heavenly Sword Marquis. Light King looked directly at Jian Wushuang. Looking for me? Why? Do you want to attack me? Jian Wushuang gave a strange smile. Light King, I advise you not to humiliate yourself, Di Hao said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.